Welcome to another chapter of In the Keep podcast. I'm your very own prophet of the drowned god, the Motherlode. The Keep is a collective of gaming enthusiasts compelled by the drowned god Cathala to frag and jib one another into oblivion for all eternity. So I was hanging out one night with my good pal AF Domains and streaming some games to Discord and just, having a good old time, playing through a bunch of stuff that I had kind of in my backlog. And I was like, what should I play next? And he's like, oh, how about another Doom mod? And I was like, nah, I'm kind of doomed out, bro. I just beat Doom 64, and then I was like, you know what? I'll play Maximum Action. I got a copy of that I should definitely play so that I can say I've played all of New Blood's titles. And I beat that pretty quickly because it's a fairly short experience as it currently stands. And as I do, I was right back to looking for another Doom mod to play. And one that kind of caught my eye was Shrine. And I'd seen Shrine probably on Mr. Icarus's YouTube channel, and then I'd seen Shrine 2 was, just getting released, and I was like, this looks dope. I'll check that out. And yeah, within like a couple of levels, I was already looking desperately like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And I found Scumhead on Twitter, messaged him. It's like 4 a.m, and get a response. Like almost immediately. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to do this podcast of yours, whatever that is. And I'm like, all right, sounds good, man. What time frame works for you? And he's like, well, I live in Arizona, so it's this time here. And I was like, fuck, I'm in Arizona right now. Turns out he lives in Phoenix. I live in Tucson. We're maybe like an hour and a half away. And yeah. So then I was kind of on a time crunch because I'm like, I just told him I'd do it. I better play all of his shit. So I played through Shrine, played through Shrine 2. Then I played some of his RPG Maker games, and I was just, fuck yeah, this guy's awesome. I knew it right from the get-go in Shrine, and here we are. I hope you enjoy this conversation between the two of us. It's really fun. We talk about all kinds of things from, just the artwork that he likes and is inspired by, and how he got into gaming, and just our views on, how you kind of fall into this retro shooter world. And I really loved his sense of humor and just who he is as a person, man. This guy's part of our tribe, for sure. Like, you could just tell by playing the game. It's this... Shrine 2 is just a really, really cool Lovecraft-inspired total conversion mod for the GZDoom engine, which means, like, yeah, he can sell it on Steam and shit. And you should go now and get it. Shrine 2 is just on ModDB at the moment, but, like, Shrine 1 and all of his other RPG Maker games are there. I think they're all free except for like one of them, which is maybe $3, and they're all totally worth it, man. Like, this guy's gonna blow up at some point. He's gonna publish a new game called Vomitoreum and probably sell it for $1 million, and we're all gonna feel like jackasses for not getting his shit for free when we could. But yeah, I just really hope you enjoy the conversation. I'm gonna play some music now from the Shrine 2 original soundtrack, and then we'll get in the keep with Scumhead.
I'm Scumhead, and I make weird games and shit like that, and comics, games. Generally, they're kind of scary and gross and stuff like that, and I don't know. It's just what I do. I find it fun, and it's the only thing that makes me truly happy. So that's what I do. I make games and shit.
I find it really funny, like, when you meet someone versus, like, the image that they kind of make online is two totally different things.
You don't expect like a fat white guy when I have this.
You gotta understand, the way that I, like, initially kind of really caught wind of all your stuff was, I think you tweeted out some shit like, I'm Scumhead and I eat ass. This is my game.
Yes, I did say that.
And then, there's all the stuff on your website. It's just like, it makes you seem like you're like some dark fucked up person who like lives in a trash can.
Well, Kinda, but
And it's just really cool, man. I love your whole aesthetic, truly.
Thank you.
Like obviously, if there was a Lovecraft-oriented Doom mod, I was gonna find out about it, and it was gonna be on this show. So let's try to start from the beginning though. You're 20 years old, and you've got more than 5 games published.
Oh gosh, yeah. Gosh, where would you like me to start on that? Because there's so much I could talk about.
Well,
But
let's
I'm
get
19 actually. My birthday is on Halloween, and I turned 20. Okay, but
That's even crazier. Even crazier.
Thank you, man.
But it's just amazing to me. Like, you get a lot of different people who approach this completely differently. Like, I want to be a game dev. All right. It actually makes me want to like go jump off a bridge when I see how productive you are. Like, if I had published, cause I talked to Osric like the other day, right? He was making Viscera Fest. He's been working on this game for 8 years, and that's cool. I totally dig that vibe. But like, when you're talking about a resume, right? Like, you want to get hired somewhere, or if you just want to have like a bunch of shit under your belt, you're rocking and rolling here with already a pretty solid resume. Like, you just like, oh, dude, look what I did. I've made all this shit already. Hire me. Like, and I'm fucking 25, and I haven't done shit with my life, like, at all.
I don't know if that's true. You got your whole podcast here, and I see you talking to Dusk Dev and Dylan Rogers, or whatever his name is, Glue Mode Guy. I think that's freaking awesome.
The way I look at it is like, yeah, I mean, I'm doing good shit, but it just, like, it came to me. I didn't even own my own computer, like, for gaming until I was 21. Sometime in the last few years. It was later on in life. You're already fucking coding. You're making shit in RPG Maker. You're getting shit done, dude. It's very impressive.
Thank you.
Not only that, but most of it's pretty good, except for we'll talk about Soulscape.
We could talk about a lot of all that shit, man. Jesus.
What was your like initial kind of break into this? What made you decide to like fuck it? I'll just make video games.
Oh God, it's a bit of a story, but I'll get into it. So I was 15 and I was in high school, and my dream in high school after I graduated, I'm gonna go on an epic adventure. I'm gonna hitchhike across America. But then I played Undertale when I was 15 years old, and I was like, oh, this is sick. I want to make this game. Yeah. So I literally grabbed all the sounds and the sprites from Undertale and made something really shitty in RPG Maker, and I was like, this is really fun. So that summer, I decided, like, I want to do my own thing with my own sprites and all this shit. So I made something. And then at first, no one played it because it was some shitty, awful RPG Maker game from Nowhereville. But that January, I got an email from one person who played it, and he loved it. And I was like, this is the most amazing feeling I've ever got in my whole life. So I was like, I want to keep doing this. Yeah. And as time went on, I didn't want to travel. I found out I despised traveling, and I wanted to dedicate myself fully to making games, because I've always loved games since I was like 5 when I first played Ocarina of Time, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So I just kept going, and I also got so lucky that I was exposed to technology, and my parents have been so awesome to me, and they've just been like, hey, here's a PC, you do it, just go. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And yeah,
that's awesome, dude. It's a really important thing. Like, you got supportive people behind you that are like willing to fund this hobby, because you're like a little bit after. Like, I grew up in Alabama, so I consider my generation whatever 10 years prior would have been. Like, I'm not quite. I guess I'm a millennial or whatever, but I feel like I'm older than that because we grew up in a little bit less technological time, and. I don't know, like, so I kind of was in that era where, like, my parents were, if I had to, like, I'm going to be a video game developer. Granted, they went through this when I was like, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. But they, I don't know, that was just not really important in our household. And definitely games were, like, me and my dad played fucking PlayStation and shit all the time. But, like, technological prowess was not a thing that we really, like, dug into. No one in my house knew how to fucking, install a graphics card or any of this shit. And... yeah, it's cool, dude, that your parents were like, yeah, fucking go for it. Here's a computer.
Yeah, like, it doesn't cross my mind because I can still be an asshole teenager to be like, oh, my parents are getting on my style, bro. But then when I think about it, it's like I had a really good childhood and I have like some of the coolest parents in the world, and they're just like, yeah, they kind of don't want me to sit on my ass and make video games all the time. They want me to get a job. Ew, job, gross. But like, yeah, I don't know. They've just always been so awesome. So I just got really fucking lucky. Because if I didn't have that growing up, I probably would be like 25 and suddenly be like, yeah, I guess I'll start making games now.
So with trying to, like, because I've noticed you've been kind of giving all your shit away for free. I'm assuming, like, with the idea of, like, I just want people to play it. But I feel like you should charge money for this, and then that could be your job. At least a partial income, man. Because it's so good. It's so good.
About that. Yeah, it's I put out most of my stuff for free mainly because I want people to trust me. So when I because my next project will be a paid game. It'll be like $10 or something, but I want people to know, like, hey, this is what I can do. I can do even better with like a good budget and shit like that. I just want to build a good trust foundation with my stuff.
Like I said, if you could show up to the door, like, here's 5-6 games that I've already successfully published, completed. Maybe they're, rough around the edges because they're indies, but I can do that. And if I had money, it would be better. Like, you're way ahead of the curve.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So I guess let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your mother. No.
My mommy is great, and she is, I don't know.
You started off with this RPG Maker stuff, or was there anything before that?
I fucked around with a lot when I was 12. There was an app called Stencil that I made like a bunch of really shitty Flash games with, but I wasn't that serious about it. I was just like, computer epic. But not much beyond that. I got serious about it when I was like 16-ish.
Okay. And
that's when I was doing RPG Maker.
So that was like, I want to make a game, and you found RPG Maker, and then like, all right, well, sky's the limit. And you already said Undertale, and I can definitely see the influence. Undertale is one of the coolest damn games. Like that whole like Atari, Amiga, ZX Spectrum era of gaming is like perfect. It's just no need for anything more. Just do the little Louis C.K. chef butthole kiss. Yeah. That's just like such a great era, and to replicate that is fucking awesome. And I mean, there's a million ways to go with that. Like, oh man, this kind of looks like Pokemon. This kind of like blah 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 blah. But it's fucking A, dude. Like, really really cool shit. And I think a lot of people, as soon as I show them your stuff, or if they see it on their own, they're immediately like, is that all hand drawn shit? Like, so what was your art background? That's amazing.
Oh gosh. Not traditional in the slightest. Like, if you asked me to draw anything realistic, I would fumble and it would look like, that Sasuke from Naruto, there's that horrible drawing of him where he looks like this weird fish. But yeah, okay, so I was doing sprite work for a long time, and I only recently started getting better at it, but a lot of my traditional drawing was just, I've been doing it since I was like 6. I've just been drawing with pen on shitty notebook paper for the longest time, and I think a lot of my art improved because I read a lot of manga, so I like pick up on little details about how the different artists do things. So my style is like this weird fusion of like random manga artists and like. Have you read Berserk, or do you know of Berserk at all?
I couldn't tell you, man.
Well.
Way out of the loop on the manga. I was like, Image Comics, like that kind of stuff was really big for me. Like Saga and like Sex Criminals, all that shit was really important to me when I was your age. But I'm so old and out of the loop now when it comes to comics and manga stuff. But anyway,
that's Berserk. Right. I was just saying Berserk because a lot of my art inspiration trickles down from that because I'm such a huge fan of that stuff. So, yes.
It's such a unique art style. I think the best compliment I got the other day was I think it was the end game page of Shrine 2 comes up. I'm streaming it, and then this guy's like, it looks like it was drawn in fucking paint.
It is drawn in Paint. I use Paint.net as my software.
That's exactly what I thought. But it looks so cool. Everything is just like the beautiful fucking sprite work, artwork, the whole fucking deal from top to bottom, like from your first projects all the way up to now. And you could see like the steady improvement, not only with like game design, but also with just the aesthetic and the atmosphere building and everything. It's a good repertoire. When Icarus kind of, I don't want to say shit on, but didn't give the most favorable review to the first Shrine. And I'm not saying we hold Icarus like as the standard or anything, but like he fucking knows his shit. And so you brought on a second developer or a coder for Shrine 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was working on Shrine 2 and I was like, all right, I want it to be better than Shrine 1, obviously. And then this random 17-year-old kid named Mengo hits me up and he's like, hey, can I help? And I was like, sure. So we just started adding little bits. And then by the end of January, we got the demo released. And Mengo was so good at everything he did. Like anything that I wanted to make it happen in the game, Mengo's like, got it. And he did it. And so the relationship kind of morphed into, okay, I'll do the visual level design stuff, sound design, planning everything, and then Mengo makes it work and balances it and adds really cool random ideas and just makes it functional and good. So I am so glad he randomly messaged me one day and joined up with me because we're a damn good team.
You found the Carmack to your Romero, maybe?
Absolutely.
That kid's smart.
So damn good.
He's doing what's right. He let you do all the initial footwork, and now he's like, all right, I'm going to turn 18 soon, and you know who to hire when you get fucking big game money. That's cool.
If I get far enough and I can hire Mengo, I am going to shower that kid in money. And
that's how it is over here too, man. We got so many people like helping out with the podcast production and just like the general shit with the keep, and I'm like, yeah, if this turns into money, I owe a lot of people a lot of fucking debt. They're gonna be coming after me to like chasing me down the street, like, you fucker.
Where's my money, boy?
Where's my fucking vacation time? Let's get back into the artwork stuff. You were just doodling, drawing, fan of the manga stuff. I'm assuming sketchbooks all around the place.
Oh god, you have no idea. Mountains.
Were you like always into art? Like, did you grow up just kind of?
Yeah, my dad was an artist.
Okay.
I mean, he's still alive. I don't want to say was, like, oh, he's dead now. But he did a lot of art in his college days, and as I was growing up, he showed me a lot of art. And I've always been interested in just visual things. Mm-hmm. It being exposed to games, I was like, whoa, this looks so cool. So I was just like, yeah, write that down. So yeah, just having that influence from an early age just got me into drawing stuff, because I don't know, I always like to make stuff.
Can you remember like an early influence of this piece of art or anything in particular that made you like kind of adapt your style? Or is it just I can't draw realistic shit, so I'll draw this fucked up surrealist stuff?
I think I could. It's two different games. Do you know Off, the RPG Maker game?
I'm not familiar with it. No. I can Google it.
Well, it's got this really cool hand-drawn aesthetic that rubbed off on me a lot. And World of Warcraft, I used to play a lot of WoW when I was like 13-ish, and I just loved the look of that game so much that I was like, oh, just very exaggerated, almost like grotesque looking stuff was just really good. And around when I was 13, 14, I started looking at Beksinski paintings, which is like the overall influence of like my whole art is Zdzisław Beksinski and his artwork and stuff like that. The three prongs are what is my main influence, I'd say.
Yeah, this is amazing. I just looked this guy up. I kind of sad I haven't heard of this before now, but it's almost like I hate to compare art to other art, but like some Giger influence, but with like warmer tones, a little bit more like, I don't know, like less dark and more mysterious. Like, it looks like there's a light at the end of this tunnel.
It has that weird. It's just Beksinski's artwork is just so strange to me because when I look at it, I don't see like something gross and horrible. I see something like very homely to me, like very. I don't know. I just want to live in a Beksinski world, and that sort of arid, surreal hellscape stuff is fascinating to me.
Something fun is like when you go talk to your therapist and they're like, well, we need to have a grounding mechanism, like something that calms you down. I'm like, well, do you want to listen to like Scandinavian satanic black metal like every time I get nervous? Or like, it's weird how some people just find comfort in like fucked up weird atmospheres and stuff.
I think that is so, it's such an underrated thing because there's the preconception that, oh, the beautiful blue sky and wavy grass, where I don't think I'm more comfortable than in like an apocalyptic storm. Like here in Arizona, we get a lot of dust storms, and when that shit rolls through, it's like, yes, I feel amazing. So I just love really scary stuff. Scary stuff for me is my comfort zone, I guess, is how I put it.
Are you aware that my day job is meteorology?
Really?
Yes.
That's cool as hell, man.
No, it's not.
Oh.
And it's like interesting, but like anytime weather comes up, I just get like, I want to fucking jump and hide in the corner.
Oh, sorry.
It takes me back to my day job, but no. That is crazy though. Like Arizona, I talked a lot about this with Mike J from Postal and how just the scenery here is so fucking weird. The sunsets, because I moved here when I was probably about 4 years ago, and everything is just fucking bizarre looking. Like the whole place, it looks like something out of one of your paintings here, except with like a little bit bluer sky during the day. But as the sun sets, it gets that like orange brownish tone, the gold, whatever they call it here. And like here in Tucson, we have like all the saguaros and like super like desolate looking scenery. People try to spruce it up with their rocks, but I'm not buying it, bro. It's a little bit more urban in Phoenix, but
it is for sure. But still, though, like, oh god, two mornings ago, the sun was blood red when it was rising because of the California fires smoke coming down in the valley. It was the scariest shit I'd ever seen. I thought I was gonna get invaded by a demon or something.
This is what you wanted. You just said you wanted to live in this fucked up world.
It's a good kind of scary. It's like I'm excited. I hope the world's ending today.
Oh god, don't even get me started. Like, just fucking end it now.
We're sick of this. Hit the reset button, please.
There's too many good games. This is the best thing about tragic times. So, like, as much as I hate that, bad things happen to people, on the other hand, that's when the best art comes out.
Absolutely.
Like, Arizona brings us Postal, and on the other end of the spectrum, Shrine 2. Like, I'm okay with the balance at this point. Coronavirus brings us an era when fucking nerdy gamers can stay inside all day and make new games for us to play. It's a weird thing. Like, I've really struggled with like the moral aspects of it's a tragic time, but this is the best time ever to be an independent content creator. It's just hard.
Absolutely.
It's hard to wrap my brain around all that shit.
Yeah, I catch myself feeling that way. It's like, I'm really glad lockdown's happening so no one will bug me about staying inside all day and being this big slug man just working away on my computer at this poopy little art project.
Let's get you on a regimen, man. Let's go running at 3 p.m.
Gonna make me exercise?
I'll transfer over to Phoenix, and we'll go out every day, 3 p.m. when it's like 120 degrees outside.
Oh, great.
We'll do like a brisk 2 miles. That's all you need. You'll be drenched from head to toe. And then, because we got to ensure your longevity as an artist. Like, we can't have you fucking just
look at George R.R. Martin. He's like 5 million pounds. He's huge, and he's like 60. And he's like, yes, I'm fat, but I'm still kicking.
Just drinking wine, just getting fucking hammered, doing just reading his art. God knows what his wife goes through, like in the background there. Like, whew. So
I like to imagine they're just like he's the sweetest man in the world,
Yeah,
and he just writes
so
this horribly fucked up.
it's like David Szymanski. Like, he's like the most pristine person. He has a background in like classical. Well, I shouldn't say classical. He'll get mad at me. Chamber music, you know, and just beautiful life. You know, family, kids, the whole deal. And on the other end, he makes like the most just fucked up games. It's like,
God.
where does this come from, dude? What happened to you? Why are you so like? Have you played his first game, Finger Bones?
Oh gosh, no. Is this the postal guy?
No, this is the guy. David Szymanski made Dusk.
Oh, how could I can't believe I didn't.
It's okay.
I know Dave. I know Dave is Dave.
That's the story that we're gonna stick to. That you know Dave Oshry. You don't have to know Dave Szymanski.
There's two Daves. There's the Chad Dave, and then there's the Dave who made Dusk.
Yeah.
Dave Oshry he's like, look at my $1 million house. Wow, that's cool. I wish I lived in New Zealand.
Hey man, those are the people that are doing business, like, for real. Oshry has done an excellent fucking job, obviously, of building his brand, and it's not just New Blood, because he's in New Zealand for Rocketworks. They're like apparently working on some top secret AAA project down there in the other end of the earth, in Middle Earth. You have to go to Middle Earth to make the best games, apparently, but. That's where the real aesthetic is, when you have Mordor dripping lava in the background. That's what he doesn't show you, is the other window of his apartment. The Eye of Sauron just beaming towards him all day. Finish the game, Dave. Dusk 2, the Duskening, it will happen. Bring us the precious. And fuck, I mean, we get on a tangent so easily.
Sorry.
That's fine. Anyway, like his Szymanski's first game, Finger Bones, is spoiler incoming to anybody who doesn't want to spoil for them. It's about like this guy who's in a bomb shelter. Like, he's like revisiting a bomb shelter after he's like hidden there through some sort of apocalyptic event. It's left really vague. And I mean, it's a super janky early idea of like a first person horror game. But all you do is just pick up notes and read them, and you realize over time that this guy like seems to have been locked there with his daughter, who he takes out like all of his aggression on, and then eventually like talks himself into, well, we're the last two people on Earth. So without getting into fucking trigger warning shit, just you can imagine where that would go. And on the other end of the spectrum, like, just the nicest guy, so sweet. Sergeant Mark too, like Brutal Doom, nice guy. It's so weird.
I think it's for a lot of artists. Most people, everyone has their weird way of expressing like that. It's not the bad part of yourself, but like the dark side of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of artists, how they get that out is just like in their projects. Like, for me, like my projects are like, I make these weird, bizarro, eldritch worlds, but it's like that's where I want to be. I escape into my projects, I guess. Kind of a tangent. Not Dave's probably not wanting to escape into that one, but it's cool to express things that are hard to talk about through art.
Because you don't really have to you can express them without having to explain them, I think is like it's weird how storytelling has evolved over time, because we have all the the poetic eddas and like the heroes epic stories, the Bible, all of this stuff that kind of like, it seemed like at one point in human nature it was natural to separate good and evil into two separate categories, right? So you have good in Lord of the Rings, and then you have very clear evil in Lord of the Rings. At some point we started to evolve a little more. Like George R.R. Martin's an excellent example. Or let's go pro wrestling. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a great example. He's supposed to be a bad guy, but people keep cheering him on. He punches his boss. He's an anti-hero. Deadpool. All of these things, and we have this the duality of men. I think the earliest kind of concept of that I can think of is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where it's all about like how one person has two sides to them. You have the Jaime Lannister who fucks his sister and kills people and pushes little boys out of windows. And you have the Jaime Lannister who really wants to do good and, really just has a warm heart and wants to be a better person, but he feels trapped. And I don't know, man. I love that. I love that it's so human. That's so much more realistic in human nature and so much more relatable. Sorry.
Yeah.
I get philosophical.
No.
Sometimes.
No, that was great. No, that was good. I think old stories were kind of used almost as a rule set for life. And I think the way in which people tell stories is a reflection of the times. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it'd be a stretch to say that for the past how many years or so, people have been getting more and more miserable, and they like to see things that reflect real life, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to get the cogs turning in my own head here.
I would even go so far as to say that over time the stories will get manipulated to kind of, as you said, like be a rule set for life, right? So, fuck, and we're gonna have to do it, right? So, I'll start with King Arthur and then we'll move on to Jesus. Right, so King Arthur, like the Disney movies of King Arthur, and a lot of what we're kind of told about King Arthur, and I don't even know if he was a real guy, but we have this legend of this righteous guy who fought the Saxons and then reclaimed the throne, and then then you have all the magical shit and the Lady in the Lake and Monty Python, and you get that image of King Arthur, but the real story, or the real quote, people can't see me quoting, but the real story was raised in a brothel and was a ruffian on the streets and all this kind of shit, and then worked his way up to that, and you don't get that part. We also have that with some of the gospels that were either omitted on purpose to mislead or were considered unimportant or bad sources. I'm not making a judgment call on that. I'm just saying that seems to be the canon here. That we leave out all of Jesus's adolescent years, and I'm imagining Jesus was kind of a punk, in a good way. I'm pretty sure that some of the stories were he would just push somebody off a cliff and bring him back to life because he could.
That's awesome.
You imagine going through puberty.
Cool.
Imagine going through puberty as the son of God. Right?
Oh my goodness. I don't even want to think about what I would do in that situation. Dear God.
Yeah, some girl doesn't she embarrasses you and you're just like, all right, that's cool. I see how it is. How you like it when your cat dies.
Whoa.
Oh, are you sad now? Snap, he's back. See, I'm the son of God. Now let's get in my Cadillac.
You're so cool. Whoa, Jesus, you're so cool and hot.
But yeah, the way that storytelling is, manipulated throughout time, or I don't want to say manipulated. I think it's just a natural thing where you want to teach kids good lessons. You want people to especially if it's a hero story, you want your hero to be pure, but no one is. And in your games, no hero is pure. They're all fucked up.
Yes, everyone's a monster and everyone's killing each other.
So
Epic.
How do two teenagers find themselves making stuff in the Doom engine? That is wild. That was the first question. I was hey, anybody got any questions for this guy? They're like, yeah, why the fuck is he doing this? I think it's cool. I love it.
Well, I'm not sure about how Mengo started. We never really got into that.
Strictly business.
Yes, strictly business. We do not talk about such things. I got bored of RPG Maker. I stagnated really bad, and I feel like I've done everything I wanted to do with this. So I was like, I've always wanted to make an FPS game because I really love the old school FPS genre. It's such a pure form of video game. And I was like, I want a piece of that. So I just started learning the Doom engine. Thank God for Chubsy Doomer, or whatever his name is. He's got tutorials from 2009 that still work. So I'm very glad I had that resource. But I don't know. I just went into it. I just decided to do it randomly in September of 2019 because I was just so bored of RPG Maker. and thankfully it's really easy to use. So
you said September of 2019. I want to point out 2 games published, and it's 2020 in July or August. Is it August? Fuck, it's August. Either way, that's insane. So you learned a new engine pretty quickly. To be fair, like though, it's so weird because there's so many resources with Doom, especially GZDoom. You can reach out to a lot of people and get a lot of answers, but there's no like, here is the book on how to do it.
You have to go through a lot of hunting for tutorials to figure out stuff, but I managed to do it somehow. Lots of questions. I got in contact with a lot of people in the community who helped me out. So, yeah.
Something that a lot of people used as a criticism that I actually think is really dope and works for me because I like to just bang out levels and move through it was like, oh, Shrine's kind of short. And some people even said easy. I don't know. I died a lot, but I suck at games. So there's that. But was this a result of you kind of just having a very rudimentary understanding of the Doom engine, or did you intend to have like a short-lived experience?
Well, I was learning as I was going along, so I didn't do too much practice before starting to work on Shrine 1. I was just like, I just want to make something. So, and I haven't had, some people have been playing Doom for 20 years, and I beat Doom and Doom 2 for the first time a week and a half before I started working in the engine. So,
wow.
Yeah, it might have been an error, but it's worked out. So I think the difficulty and how I designed that first game was a reflection on my lack of understanding and lack of skill in the engine in general. So
you didn't even have a background of these are all the amazing Doom mods out there, really?
Oh God, no! I think the only Doom mod I had played at that point was Brutal Doom back in 2015-ish. Oh, and the Castlevania one that Batandi made.
That's fucking wild, dude. I feel like any criticisms can't even be held against you at that point.
I am really chill with most criticism because people who play my stuff 99% of the time have no idea who I am. So I want, if there's something wrong with it, I want to know what's wrong with it so I can fix it, or I can take that information into the next project. So I think it's all fair.
It's totally. I mean, you have to be open to criticism. I'm just saying, it's hard to hold any real criticism against you with that background. So, I don't know. Either way, you came out on the upper end. If you're making something your very first time having played Doom and Doom 2, just prior to that with very limited mod skill or prowess or knowledge or whatever, you banged out this game that by anyone's standard is at the very least extremely impressive looking Doom mod. Wow, this is fucking gorgeous. And your experimentation with geometry and everything, we can get into that too as we go. But I really want to get into kind of your story writing because you've made a lot of kind of narrative driven stuff, and then when you transition to the FPS genre, there's the infamous Carmack quote about how the story is like a porno and all this kind of shit. But you've done a great job of kind of really storytelling through atmosphere, I should say. And you've put so much of the Lovecraft mythos in there that it's hard to ignore that there is a narrative here. So can you get into that a bit?
So yeah, I used to do a lot of narrative stuff. The only thing that was planned out from the beginning that I've finished that was a full narrative was my webcomic that I made 2 years ago. But for Shrine and Shrine 2, I know, because I'm the type of person that when I sit down and play a game, and it's an FPS game, most people, when you are about to play an old school shooter, you already know what you're kind of getting into and what you want out of the experience. And I know people probably don't want to read text and listen to voice acting and stuff. So I was like, okay, most shit needs to be environmental, atmosphere, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I had the links of what happens in the story and what's going on. Most of it's environmental, so 90% of people have no idea what's going on in Shrine 2, which I think is okay, because the point of the game is to shoot cool demons and see cool places and stuff like that. But as for narrative, I don't know. I randomly think, oh, that would be cool. So I put it in.
Did you... Is it intentional that the character's name is Mogie Crocker? Or is that from a GZDoom or something like that?
Mogie Crocker?
Am I crazy? What's the character... Like, so when you open up the... I know what it is. I think I just realized what happened. So I've been so confused this whole time, right? I booted up GZDoom, right, to play Shrine 2. And the character's name in my username, right, was Mogie Crocker. But that's from GZDoom. That's literally because I played GZDoom and set it up that way. And I was like, why is this the name of the character? It's so weird.
He's from the same universe. He got skin turned into a Tusk Man. Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
I'm not cutting that. It's too good. But
it's beautiful.
So,
that's his name now.
Is it just Shrine Guy?
His name is Tusk. His name, that was his nickname at first, but Tusk, not that original, but it's because he's got his little tusk. So he's Tusk.
That's so fucking dumb.
Mogie Cracker, slay Eldritch Demon.
I don't know, man. Mogie Crocker was like a famous soldier in the Vietnam War.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
was like, man, this guy's some big brain shit going on. I'll ignore that. Now I remember where it came from.
He got reincarnated into the shrine world.
Yes. Anyway, back to the narrative stuff. Throughout the game, you kind of, especially the first one, it's pretty straightforward, and you have all these like beautiful like set pieces and settings that kind of like show you evolve through time, and eventually end up in the level called the Womb, and that's disgusting. Totally gross, man. I like the little polyps and everything. Why? That's the question. Why that?
Why make things so horribly gross?
Yes, it's grotesque. It's cool. It's a really interesting set piece, especially as you go through it and you come out of their butthole through doorways, exit out of a big ass mouth. Where did that fucking come from? Like, why did you decide to use that as a set piece? Because I was originally thinking like, oh, this is like I'm thinking like a Dexter's Laboratory or like Jimmy Neutron episode where they go inside of Carl's body and have to. It's like a classic cartoon trope, but the way you implemented it was so much more, dark.
Well, Shrine 2 had a lot more of like a plan and a story at the beginning, but I had to like decrease scope. So that was supposed to be like a fallen god type thing that you just happen to spawn in, but
oh, okay.
I also just really like gross shit, and I like stuff that is just organic and horrible and just yucky and
body horror.
Yeah, that type of shit. I just love that. So I wanted to make a level that was, you're crawling around in skin and friggin' weird, gross liquid and
bile.
Yes. I love that shit.
Did your mom play it?
I hope not. Because, Shrine 1 isn't that bad, but there's like, you've beaten Shrine 2?
Yes.
Yeah, there's some boobies and butts and PP structures in that, and I don't know if my mom should be seeing that. Personally,
it's well hidden. It's like The Little Mermaid, where it's like, we'll let that slide. No, we'll just go past the censors. But
it just bleeds together.
See, when you wrapped up that project, you now you're in the game. You're part of the Doom modding scene as far as anyone's concerned. We're like, who the fuck is this guy? And so you get your criticisms. You come back full force with Shrine 2 with a new programmer. And you say you laid it out a lot better this time. So what were the things that you, like the notes that you took, or like, this is what I want to do?
The things that stood the same throughout the entire development was, 30 maps. And each is a really cool, different... I wanted it to be some Nintendo-ass shit where you go into the next level and the colors have swapped and it looks completely different.
Right.
And it's not So yeah, mainly that, just the levels and their what they were gonna be, their general theme that stayed the same the whole time. Weapons, there was initially only gonna be 5 weapons, but as we went along, it's like, oh god, 5 weapons for 30 levels, that will suck. So we just kept adding more and more, and it felt really good to be constantly receiving new shit. Yeah, I wanted to get all of the pieces of the chessboard out right away. So the first thing I made was some weapons, and then I made every enemy and planned out the levels what I wanted them to be, and those were like the main things that I stuck with. Everything else was sort of made up and elaborated as we went along, because it's good to have freedom and not railroad yourself too much, because then it can get bad, and also it's not that fun to work on when you're not being creative as you go. So
yeah, it's I think important actually now that I know that you didn't come from like a wide array of mods and backgrounds for Doom. The game really, especially Shrine 2, more so than Shrine 1, totally separates itself from kind of the way that Doom typically works, and that you use levels as just like, all right, we're just gonna go through here and be done with it. Or there are some common tropes, like obviously there's the picking up keys to open doors and everything, and the way that the enemies work, but it doesn't like hold itself to that I have to make a Doom game standard. It really stands on its own. One of the things that always like kept fucking me up as I played through it was that there you have these power-ups and shit that I'm just like, I had no fucking concept. Like, I kept forgetting I even had them, and then I'd be like in this boss fight, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why can't I? Oh yeah, that's right. I just hit I mapped them all to like Z, X, Y, or whatever. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just punch one of these. I didn't even think about which one it was going to be, and I'm like, okay, I got this under control now.
Yeah, when I have always seen the Doom stuff as more of a tool to make my own games instead of making mods for Doom. Like, I'm not a big fan of gameplay mods for Doom, because I've played through Doom 1 and 2 already, and I've gotten that experience of that game. I want to use the engine to make new experiences, I guess.
I think there's a strong future in that since you no longer require an iWAD to make a game in GZDoom, you can basically just use it as an engine, and a lot of people are picking up on that. That one of the big projects was Head On, Zan's game, and then we have Sergeant Mark working on Brutal Fate now, and I mean his pushing of the engine has always been fucking mind blowing to me.
People will rag on him all they want, but he knows his shit. He knows the engine better than anybody, man.
Yeah.
That guy
genius is a madman, dude. But yeah, like as Brutal Fate comes to, I think there's going to be a larger and larger market for using the GZDoom engine as a viable engine to publish your own game and sell it for money, which is good.
Yes,
in my opinion. Like some people get fucking their panties in a wad about that, but fuck it.
I never understood that. Like it takes like 5,000 hours to make something, and they want $10. It's not a big deal.
It's not even that. I think, period, there should be no argument against, like, developers should make money for making games. You have to fucking eat, and you're providing a service that people deeply need in these times of sorrow and hardship. They want entertainment. They want to escape. You sell it to them. They should make that transaction. That's not an argument to me. The people that have an issue with you taking something that is, quote, like, open source and then making money off of it is, like, ridiculous. It really irritates the shit out of me. I understand their argument. It's like, oh, well, Doom mods have always traditionally been free, blah, blah, blah. But, like, first of all, you're not really making a Doom mod. You're making a game. It's just built on that engine. Nobody would get irritated if you made it in fucking Unreal. Nobody would be irritated. If you made it in Unity, nobody would be irritated. But for whatever reason, we had that kind of stigma around the Doom engine, and I really want to get away from that because it's an excellent tool.
I think as more and more people put their stuff out there, like Hedon, because that was like one of the main inspirations was why I started. Because I went into the engine like thinking, oh, I could put this on Steam because I don't know. That's really important for me is getting it out there to a lot of people, because I just, from when I was working on RPG Maker, I was stuck in the RPG Maker world, and I never really broke out of that. And I don't want to be trapped in one little area. Or if I am trapped, I want to be trapped in a big one, because the FPS community is huge, and everyone wants more, because it's fun. And I want to make fun things for people.
It's definitely a booming time for boomer shooters. Like, it's kind of it's in vogue more and more now. We have like several companies that are like totally just all in on it. But New Blood seems like they want to break away, but I don't know if they can. We're gonna make an MSIM now. It's still an FPS. It's still an old school FPS. That's all I'm saying with Gloomwood. But it is it's such a cool thing to see the community grow and grow and grow, and we get, you're the lifeblood of this, like young, hungry developers coming out, like making shit like what you do it's going to be so important.
Thank you.
I'm hoping like more and more little, like, indie studios keep popping up, and then I hope you guys all get $1 million someday.
I hope, man. I can't be in McDonald's dollar menu forever. So, but yeah, it's really dope, especially since I can put my shit on Steam. It's been so freaking amazing, and the community, even the Doom modding community, like some of the nicest people I have ever met in my whole life. They're just such great, like really sweet people. And
who you been chatting with, if I can ask?
Are you familiar with the mod Combined Arms, or Jamoda going medieval on their asses?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Can't
get a lot of that, man. There's a lot of holes in there.
There's so many mods out there, and I have played 1% of them, but Tandy, Combine Keegan, Skelligan, I can name a million, but I talk to those people a lot who are in the modding community who create stuff. But yeah, they're awesome, and they're great and kind, and they help me out all the time, and it's just a very welcoming place to be in. I don't know if this is a tangent or not. I'm kind of rambling. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's the whole point of the podcast, is that we can talk about long form discussion all we want, and if people don't like it, they can just skip forward or not listen to it.
Fair enough.
I'll clean it up. I'll make it sound like we're both geniuses when I edit it. Don't worry about that. First of all, before I move on, fuck you for the river Styx. That level is bullshit.
We're fixing it.
No, I really like it, but like, wow. I sat there for so long, just like, because I had about like 27 health or some shit when I started that level.
God, I'm so sorry.
and I thought it was cool. It's like I figured out eventually, like I think I found it on YouTube or whatever, like, oh, I'm supposed to shoot the ground. It never even occurred to me, like, shoot the fucking shit and freeze it. Like, why would that not be the first thing I thought of? It's got all the ammo is sitting right there. It's so writ large, and yet I'm so dumb. And then I'm like, okay, cool, I figured that out. And then I get around the corner, and then I'm getting blasted, and I have no health. So eventually I figured out when you had the fast fire version of the ice gun on, I could just like fucking shoot it at the ground and sprint forward.
We're since I'll take the L on that one. That's totally my bad. That level sucks ass.
I like the level. I just hate
Good idea. It's just really long and shitty. So I want to make something that doesn't play like ass, but still uses that shooting ice at the water as the motif of the level. It's just you're going in a straight line around corners, and it's bad. So we're working on that. We're picking like a few levels that we're like, okay, this could be better. This could be this better, and tweaking them. That one in particular, we're starting from scratch because I know I could do a lot better. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So I apologize for that nightmare.
So the really tall, skinny white monster that shoots projectiles all the way around and plays crazy sounds. I detect within that sound the song from Rainbow Bunchie. Am I crazy?
I don't know what Rainbow Bunchie is.
Okay, I'm gonna
send that to me.
What
does it sound like?
Quick little experiment. We'll take our time here, and I'll have to cut it if I need to. But You need to be aware of this. It's this old school, like back in the day YouTube meme that really annoyed the shit out of me when I was probably about 14 or 15. Confirm to me when you hear this that you can in fact hear my sounds.
I can hear that. I recognize this.
Now I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you the image so that you can see what has been torturing me for all this time. Just look at that little guy. Tell me he's not the cutest thing.
Oh my god.
This was on a 10-hour loop. This was a 10-hour loop that would just, it's just like, okay, bro, we're all fucking drunk now. I'm putting this on, try not to laugh. And like, it's a stupid meme. But I heard that sound in there and I was just like, oh, fuck me.
That sound's not in there. I think you're hearing a number station that sounds a lot like this, but it's not it. But holy crap, I remember this. Jesus. What year is this?
I'm actually happy knowing it's not that in the game, but like I heard that and I was just like, this is torture. This is psychological torture, especially the first time you interact with that monster when it's in the fog and you can't really see it. And then I spent like forever after I killed it, like looking for the key in the fog, and it was just like that song was haunting me the whole time. I was like, no.
Oh god. Yeah. So the sound is actually making is a number station. I think it's Swedish Rhapsody, the number station, but it was just a creepy sound, and I'm sorry to bring back a nightmare, but
well, I'll have to put the YouTube link to that and like for all the confused people listening in the show notes. But
alrighty.
Thanks a lot, jerk. And go ahead.
I just said you're welcome.
Oh well, yeah, okay. So why can't I get the fucking puzzle in Soulscape to work? I don't get it. I'm so confused.
The code for that game is from 2016, so
yeah.
And I play tested it. I was the only one who play tested, so I had it in my brain is, it must work because every time I try it, it works. But it wouldn't shock me if it was just shit broke.
Okay.
But I have no idea, and I feel bad because I should have gone through and checked that. But when I re-released it on Steam, I just gave it a graphical update and didn't do much else. But oops, my bad. I'll probably replay through it soon and maybe do some bug fixes if I can, if it's completely broken and it's not just like something you're missing.
It's okay. I just got so invested, man. I was just like, I love this little game. I'm gonna bust it out in like 2 hours, and then I'll be ready to talk about RPG shit tomorrow. But
I apologize for my broken ass game from when I was 15 years old.
It's fine. There's nothing to apologize about except for, I just had my heart broken a little bit. If you get it squared away, let me know. But I wanted to dig into a couple of the other projects. You have a new game that you're going to be working on, if I understand correctly. What can you say about it at this point?
Okay. Yeah, I'm working on... Are you familiar with Metroid Prime?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a Metroid Prime game in forever, and we have no idea when the fourth one's coming out. And I can't think of any other first-person Metroidvanias, so I was like, I'll just make my own. And so I am taking the paintings of Beksinski and applying them to this world that I'm making, and I'm making a little FPS Metroidvania. And I'd like to do a Kickstarter for it because I want to pay my coder and I want to get really good music for it. But it's not that far into it now. I'm working on like the second area, and there's some B-roll footage I have on like Twitter and YouTube. But other than that, it's early stages, but it's going really good.
Vomitoreum is the name?
Yeah.
The working title?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think it's weird how the retro shooter genre has kind of like started to progress a little bit. We had that kind of era where it was all like Doom and Quake, and we're starting to just now really see the beginnings of, like with Ultra Kill and Effigy, something a little more complex. we're moving into like the PS1 era, I guess, again.
Yeah.
And
I think that now that the nostalgia is waning a little bit, people are like, okay, I like this genre, but we need something new. And developers are like, I like this genre. Here's my twist. Ba, 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 ba. You know what I mean?
yeah, the first-person Metroidvania, it's a good. I think it's a good concept. You see that a little bit in the effigy demo. I think the finished game will have a lot more like revisiting areas and kind of cycling through parts. And then there's some of that in Wrath. I don't want to like really compare Wrath to like a Metroidvania, but it does have that kind of like going back through areas and hub maps and just revisiting and then finding items and taking them back and opening up new areas. I believe that is going to be a pretty significant part of the game at some point. So that's cool, dude. And so this is all going to be the Beksinski aesthetic as well?
Yeah, it's a lot of Beksinski. I'm using that as a base to sort of spread my own tendrils from. So, yeah, there's a lot of Beksinski influence, but it's still mostly my ideas. It's just I'm taking heavy inspiration. Because I've always wanted to see those paintings like adapted into a game on more than just like one little thing. It's like, oh, there's so much potential here with those paintings, create a whole world and universe around them because they're just so rich with detail. So I was like, yeah, I kind of want to try that out. I think that'd be cool.
I think Scorn may still come out, but like that was the Giger. Like this game is based on the paintings of Giger and all that kind of shit. So I like seeing that kind of stuff. It's not only an homage, but like in your case, it's like here's something new that a lot of people aren't going to be as familiar with as H.R. Giger. So
yeah, Beksinski is the underdog under Giger. Yeah. I would say he's got this arid hellscape where Giger's like this wet, disgusting type thing.
Even though I just learned about Beksinski like, an hour ago or however long we've been talking, I'm a fan now and I like this. It reminds me of like what's that band called? Neurosis? Are you familiar with a band called Neurosis?
I am musically inept. I have no idea about most music.
Death. I'll send you some links. These are like really heavy metal bands, but like this is like right out of one of their album covers. Really cool. What kind of? You said you want to get good music. What are you looking at? What are you thinking?
Well, Filmmaker. I don't know if you played the original WAD for. Did you play Shrine 1 on Steam or did you?
I played it on Steam.
Okay, so Shrine's original soundtrack used music from a guy called Filmmaker. And it fit the game so much better than what it was now. Because right now, Shrine 1 is just using mostly royalty-free Dark Agents. And it's like...
I know a guy.
It's lame, but...
I know a guy.
Ooh, I might actually need you to send me to him because I could always use more Dark Ambient shit. But,
shout out to a Morpher.
I'll have to check him out. Yeah, Filmmaker is... just this really good, like, dark synthwave type musician, and I used his music in Shrine 1, and then when I switched over to Steam, I did my own soundtrack because I couldn't find a way to contact him, but recently I did get a hold of him, and we've started talking about potential of working with his music and me commissioning him to create the soundtrack because his guttural, evil-sounding music would fit the atmosphere of the game so perfectly. So yeah, that's what I want.
Dope.
Filmmaker, let me buy your music.
Maybe it will.
Maybe. I hope so. Love that guy.
So with the Shrine 2 soundtrack, what was the story with that?
So I actually managed to commission a few different musicians for the soundtrack, but so the first half of Shrine 2 is all commissioned music. So that's all original music by Sync. Sync is the artist for that. And then Primeval made the boss music for the first 3 bosses. Everything from Heaven and Beyond is all either stuff Mengo's made or royalty-free stuff. And then some of the stuff for the initial release of the mod, we were using like placeholder music of like game music that already exists, but this is like, hey, this is the kind of music we want because Primeval's not quite finished with the soundtrack yet, and I ran out of cash for commissioning music, so I couldn't really get any more, which is totally chill. That's perfectly fine with me. So the rest of the game will probably be Mengo's own tunes and royalty-free shit, and then Primeval will help finish up the boss soundtrack. But yeah,
Dope.
that's a long-winded summary. Sorry that I went into so much detail about that.
Don't stop apologizing. I'm gonna fucking come over there.
I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm really close. I was born in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Minnesota. Baby Canada. You're go over to Fargo. There, throw you in the wood chipper if you don't behave. It's really dope. I really love all of it, man.
Thank you so much.
Last kind of thing, and then I'll let you go back to your life,
Okay.
or what you call a life. And I want to get into some of the Lovecraft stuff that you really seem to have like truly embraced moving into Shrine 2, and your narrative spin on it is really fucking cool. I love the boss fights. I really love the Azathoth boss fight at the end because of the now I'm gonna have to break into a whole new tangent. I love the impossible geometry. I know it's not like a new trick, but it's such a good trick, you know, when you can just keep running in different directions and like re-arrive at the same place. Or were you an MC Escher fan at all, or where does that come from?
Honestly, the Azathoth boss fight was almost entirely Mengo. I just did the art for it. So that one room where it's infinite, that's all Mengo's really cool tricks. So you're going to have to kiss Mengo for that one, because I have no idea how he did that. But I do love like non-Euclidean shit and weird, fucked up stuff. It's just, Mengo did that. He's a genius mastermind of that stuff, and
yeah,
I'm confused how he did it.
No, there's a few other places in the game where it's like that could not occur in any way, like, or even like the levels where you just had to like platform. By the way, some of the best goddamn platforming ever in the Doom engine, I think. Like, wow, seriously, really, really good. Like, I was kind of blown away because I always, every time I see a platforming section in a Doom game, I'm like, fuck. Jazz Jackrabbit also did a pretty good job. That guy's going to be on the podcast eventually, but like, really solid dude. I love that shit.
I haven't had a chance to meet him, but I would like to, because his project is really dope. And he was like one of the first people to ever follow me on Twitter, like when I hadn't even finished Shrine. So I was like, yeah, cool guy.
Don't misquote me on this, but I feel like he told me he was like in the middle of building a house, like, or he's like working on some kind of housing project where he's like building a bunch of houses to earn his house. I don't know what the deal is, but he's like really busy with that at the moment. But whenever he's back in the swing of the, you know, making games and shit, I'll probably have him on the podcast.
Awesome. I'll have to listen to that, man. That sounds cool.
Cool. Any closing thoughts, shout outs, people you want to tell to fuck off? This is your moment.
Follow Mengo. Give that guy all the love you can. He has brought Shrine 2 so much further than it ever could. Check me out. You're going to have a Kickstarter for Vomitoreum sometime. Not sure when, but soonish. Just interact with people in the Doom community. They're all so sweet and cool, and they're all great. And
disclosure agreement: do not interact with everyone, but most of them are cool.
Hit them up, yo. Bother them. Annoy them.
Thank you so much, man. Really looking forward to your 21st birthday when I can drive up there to Phoenix and buy you a beer.
Awesome, man. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, I will. If I'm still in the area. I could move anytime. You never know. But really, really appreciate your time. Super impressed with your resume so far. Can't wait to see you grow. Next time you're ready to talk at all, it doesn't even have to be for a new project. You're welcome back on the show anytime, dude.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, man. This was a blast. And I'm glad you let me talk about my stupid stuff.
Shrine 2 will be featured at Realms Deep 2020. It's going to be fucking awesome. You should definitely be there September 5th and 6th on 3D Realms official Twitch channel, blah, blah, blah. It's great. Go to their website. I'll have it in the show notes for you to check out all of the cool people who will be at the event. Obviously, we're going to be doing a bunch of podcasts for it. You can see the guest list there. It's going to be badass. Thank you again to Scumhead for being a guest here on the show. Also, big thank you to Mengo for helping him make Shrine 2. It's fucking great. I'm really looking forward to Vomitoreum. Go ahead and follow these guys both on Twitter to keep up to date and see what they're hinting at and all that good shit. It's going to be really fun to watch them grow as developers and grow as a team and hopefully go on to do bigger and better things. But right now, let's just enjoy the ride, guys. Thank you to everybody who supports us. We love you. Not going to shout them all out this time because the music is about to end and I'm watching it happen. Oh, God. But seriously, till next time, stay in the keep.